Ballora is one of the most well-loved and mysterious characters within the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. But who is she really, and what is her attachment to the other animatronics and potentially to the Afton family? Welcome back, my fellow gamers. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 scary Ballora theories and aiming to answer some, if not all, of these questions as we dive deep. Let's get theorizing. Number 10. Late Edition. Ballora is thought of by some to be a late addition to the game's sister location, a character who was never really intended to appear and was possibly rushed at the last second in order to be finished in time for the game's release. This is scary in the sense that if this theory is true, we almost got a game without any Ballora, which would be awful considering how important some consider her to be relative to lore and how popular she is among fans for multiple reasons. Why do people think that Ballora was a late addition to the game? Well, because she has no making of available in the extras. This is odd and stands out to people as, other than Ennard, Ballora is really the only other main animatronic to not have one included. Number 9. Good animatronic. This one admittedly is not that scary, but the antithesis to it is. What if Ballora was never intending to hurt you in the games and you were simply made to think that way? Sure, she can still jump scare you, but it could be because she has been herself manipulated by Circus Baby into thinking that you are a threat. After all, Ballora doesn't really seem to be malicious in nature. She genuinely likes to sing and dance and may not even have a vengeful spirit possessing her. Is it possible that she inherently would not think to do harm to you? Is it possible that she too is being manipulated by Circus Baby into thinking that you are the enemy, just as you think she is a threat? And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are a big fan of Ballora, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. The Last Animatronic. Some believe that because Ballora doesn't have a making of feature in the extras menu of Sister Location, that this gives up some information as to not just when she was made and added into the game, but when she was made in canon. Some have taken this as a hint that Ballora was one of the latest inventions of William Afton in comparison, at least, to the other FNAF Funtime / Sister Location animatronics. Some believe that Ballora was the last animatronic in this grouping to have been made, which, if you believe that she has any connection to Mrs. Afton, might actually make some sense, assuming that you feel that Mrs. Afton disappeared following the death of Elizabeth for one reason or another. Number 7. Mrs. Afton's soul. So one of the prominent theories when it comes to Ballora is that she is the wife of Mrs. Afton, in spirit form at least. Some believe that Mrs. Afton died. A lot of people actually believe that this happened as the result of a car crash due to a popular FNAF music video that circulated and somehow became considered canon by fans, despite the fact that this has yet to be confirmed in-game or in any of the books. Regardless, many fans have theorized that following her death, Mrs. Afton's soul lingered on this earthly plane within Ballora, and that Ballora is, in essence, possessed by Mrs. Afton. The song Ballora sings in Sister Location has often been used as evidence to support these claims, although there are a few different explanations for those lyrics. Number 6. Not big on pretend. Circus Baby at one point in the game remarks how Ballora never learned how to pretend. Some believe this is an indicator towards Ballora's personality, and have even implied that Ballora does not like to play pretend because she is too mature and more grown up than Circus Baby in terms of her personality. Others have theorized that Ballora is simply not a fan of playing pretend, and for this reason did not like Circus Baby's plan, sensing early on that it might be flawed. It also makes sense that Circus Baby would be inclined to pretend though, considering that she seems to have kinda two sides to her, and also the fact that it's heavily implied that she can shapeshift to a certain degree, disguising her appearance, depending of course on which continuity we're looking at, as to how much she can shapeshift. Number 5. Replacement Mrs. Afton. Another theory suggests that Ballora was simply made to fill in for Mrs. Afton, filling the void in William Afton's life after his wife left him. This also seems to be supported by the lyrics to Ballora's song, which seem to be quite sad and lonely in nature overall. Ballora mostly talks about being alone, implying that someone refuses to acknowledge her presence, which makes her lonely. However, the final lyrics in the song suggest that Ballora finds joy in her performance. She sings, "It's so good to sing all day, to dance, to spin, to fly away." This could even imply, if Ballora was meant to be a stand-in for Mrs. Afton, programmed to be similar to her, that Mrs. Afton found joy elsewhere in her life. And so, with William making her sad, she chose to, as the lyrics say, fly away. Perhaps Mrs. Afton left William, which is why he created Ballora. He was sad about her leaving, and so Ballora is meant to be some kind of creepy replacement? Number 4. are loss. As I said, the meaning behind the lyrics to Ballora's song have been a topic of heated debate amongst fans, and the idea that these lyrics refer to Mrs. Afton speaking out with her own voice from within Ballora, or simply repeating Mrs. Afton's own thoughts as a sort of animatronic version of her, are not the only theories to explain them. Some have also speculated that the lyrics could refer to the loss of a child, and whether or not Ballora is Mrs. Afton could be a reference to Mrs. Afton's and perhaps even Mr. Afton's grief. All I see is an empty room, no more joy, an empty tomb could specifically be a lyric referring to the death of either Elizabeth or that of crying child, or perhaps both. Number 3. An empty room, an empty tomb. What if Ballora was intended to be an animatronic to hold Mrs. Afton's soul, but instead was unable to fill that role before Mrs. Afton left or died prematurely? We still don't really know why William Afton creates animatronics and seemingly is obsessed with the mad science of bonding souls to them. Most believe that this obsession comes from a place of William wanting to discover the secrets of immortality. If he loved his wife, if he even had a wife to begin with, or a true love, is it possible that Ballora was made for her? This comes from the theory that Circus Baby may have been made for Elizabeth in a similar way, but where he succeeded with Elizabeth, perhaps he failed with Ballora, so she is an empty vessel. Perhaps the lyrics in her song refer to her own self. An empty room, no more joy, an empty tomb. What if Ballora is the empty room? What if the tomb is empty because the body ended up elsewhere due to some kind of failed bonding process? Number 2. Mrs. Afton's agony. On the other hand, maybe Ballora isn't so empty. After all, my previous point was just based on one of many different interpretations of Ballora's song lyrics. Something else you may have noticed about Ballora is just how aware of her surroundings she seems. True, she can't see because her eyes are closed, but she can hear and seemingly feel things. Maybe not physical things. I'm not saying that she has the sense of touch, but she can feel emotions. Circus Baby refers to her as being afraid in the game and also comments, as I said before, that Ballora never learned how to pretend. Probably either because she didn't want to or because she found it too difficult. Either way, pretty much everything here makes her sound fairly human. In the Fazbear Frights books, we learn that agony is powerful. So powerful in fact that you don't even need a soul to give animatronic sentience if you have enough of it. Enough agony. Perhaps it was Mrs. Afton's grief and agony over the loss of her marriage or her children that then possessed Ballora. If that is true, Ballora could exist and have sentience while Mrs. Afton could still be alive and out there still somewhere. Number 1. Purple Gal. Perhaps Ballora isn't Mrs. Afton, but even if she isn't, she could still be a companion for William. After all, something that many people have noticed is, well, how purple she is. She has purple eyes, purple hair, and a complete purple design, head to toe purple. Do you know who else is known for the color purple in the franchise? Like a lot of purple? Yep, William Afton himself, Purple Guy as we sometimes call him. So what if Ballora wasn't actually Mrs. Afton in the sense of representing his wife or being his wife incarnate, but instead was simply a creation of William's to act as his own companion? Colors are generally used in cinema and in storytelling to help connect concepts, characters, and denote themes. In this case, the connection could simply mean that these two are connected as creator and animatronic, or companions in some other way. We all know how much colors tend to be pointed out and utilized in both the FNAF books and in the games, and if any of William's children are actually animatronics in disguise, like we've been theorizing on the channel, it's possible that Ballora is still in a way their mother. She was just never human to begin with. What do you think are some of the scariest Ballora theories out there? Do you think Ballora is Mrs. Afton, or is she something else? Do you think there even ever was a Mrs. Afton to begin with at this point? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I am your host Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep on gaming on. Pew pew!